soup.
I was going to compliment your hat, but he's not a very popular guy these days.
Who,
not a very popular mouse these days.
Mickey Mouse? What's wrong?
Controversial figure.
It's just a mouse.
You're saying you need to separate the art from the artist when it comes to Mickey?
Yes. I got my gripes with Walt Disney, but when I see the mouse, I think of... brings me back. A sense of wonder, magic, if you will.
Definitely. Disney World's the best place on earth for an 8-year-old. How you've gone twice in 1 year as an adult is, I guess you're just in tune with the 8-year-old inside of you.
Well, I go more for the Epcot and Galaxy's Edge.
You're a boring guy.
What do you mean?
Epcot.
Oh, what, you don't like to drink and eat?
I don't like anything these days.
That's true.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Bo Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and we are back to drop our first podcast in a few weeks now. Been on a bit of a hiatus because our schedule's been packed with Obi-Wan, The Boys, the birth of Teddy's kid, you going to Disney World, priorities in check, but we are back. Going to be the first podcast that we drop, or the last podcast that we upload on the Nerd Soup channel. And people have been messing with us on Twitter saying, oh, how much you want to bet they don't make the change? But that's happening next week, man, the Nerd Soup podcast channel. So if you aren't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to that if you want to keep listening to these podcasts on YouTube. But they'll still be up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, all the homes for podcasts. And, of course, nerdsouppodcast.buzzsprout.com.
What's even going on with Disney? I don't even know.
You don't know?
No. I'm out of the loop.
Well, did you see Ben Shapiro's tweet about Lightyear today?
No.
Disney's trying to push their not-so-subtle gay agenda.
So I thought something bad happened.
Oh, like something in real life.
Yeah.
Something legitimate.
Yeah.
No, all the problems you were focused on, still the same problems,
Okay.
Cheap labor, stuff like that. Typical corporation issues.
Oh,
but
sure.
No, they've been in the news for a lot of things that are just completely made up and not true.
Gotcha.
Like Ben Shapiro's tweet earlier today, the agenda of gay people existing. Children, think of the children.
I did find it funny, though, when I was there, obviously, every company they have, their pride stuff up.
Yeah.
And, all right, cool, but,
just general pride from The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. No, but, the rainbows and the Disney and stuff like that. And, that's cool, but, also when you fold at every
turn.
opportunity to actually, promote and, actually show real support in your films and stuff, you cut it for, Russia and things like that.
It's all about the
or
dollar.
Or you give, a little kiss at the end of Rise of Skywalker. And, look, let's pat ourselves on the back here. Other than that, fantastic place. Magic.
Oh, boy. Well, that's why The Boys continues to be my favorite show on television, man, because there's just something so timeless about placing superheroes in contemporary politics. Mm-hmm. Because even when you look at a story like The Dark Knight Returns, you could still relate it to today's issues because the issues don't really change that much. Even stories that go back hundreds of years, man, it's kind of the beauty of that type of storytelling when you are providing commentary on the real world. I don't know, how did we start this conversation and get to this?
Because you were
back in the fold,
making fun of my Mickey hat.
Right. Well, follow us on Twitter at BoSoup, at NerdSoupMonkey. I'll just plug the other ones, at TeddyNerdSoup, at Anthony JQ Nash. It's been a while. And like we said, dude, subscribe to our podcast channel, the Nerd Soup Podcast. It's right on the main page.
Did you just call our listeners dude?
I did. Just one dude. I address them as one singular.
Everyone listening is going to be like, oh, he's speaking right to me.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I do. I got that quality. It's, what Robert Baratheon said, 5-1, Where the fists, we were separated, I brought us into one dude fist. Interesting stories to talk about on this podcast.
Good dude fist?
Good dude fist. We've also been a little bit behind on our fan question podcast, so we're going to upload probably a nice 2-hour fan question special this weekend to make up for some of that lost time. And, Obi-Wan review coming out either today or tomorrow. It depends. And The Boys. We're going to be reviewing episodes 4 and 5 of The Boys. Going to double up on that for a spoiler discussion.
And I'm done with Stranger Things, so...
Oh, nice.
I gotta whip that up on myself. You think Stranger... Is it, still... And I think people are still talking about it.
It'd be a good time to drop that right before Volume 2, maybe. When does Volume 2 come out? Do you know?
A couple months.
I think people are still talking about it, man.
I see it
think
all
it
the time.
Left a lasting impression.
Good season.
People like the weird rock and roll super senior.
Yeah, Eddie.
The hot guy.
Well, that's every...
With the sharp face.
Every evil person. Yeah. Hot guy, sharp face.
Works.
It's It doesn't get old.
It doesn't,
because it's like, oh, his face tells me that he's evil, but I also like what's going on with that. Maybe I can change him.
That it always comes down to that, right? Maybe I can change him.
And no, they're psychopaths. I tell you what,
change yourself first.
That's actually really good advice.
I've been giving people great advice lately.
Really?
Yeah, the other day I told Saul Hill that time is the enemy of us all, and the best way to fight it is make it count.
Ooh, that's pretty deep.
I cut you right there, right?
Where'd you
get
that?
That was off the cuff. I feel like the best sayings come off the cuff. When you try and sound deep, you end up sounding like a jackass.
No, yeah. I feel like because right away I'm like, you stole that from something.
I stole it from myself. It sounds like, because I said it so off the cuff and naturally previously, but now that I'm repeating it, it feels, like I stole it from something at Bed Bath & Beyond.
My advice is very generic, but it still applies. Like, just do you.
I think do you is a classic.
Yeah, and you could take that however you will. It's like, you know what, I am going to do me.
Right, you don't want to tell the wrong person to do him.
Yeah,
Stalin, do you. Wait a minute. All right, first topic here. Let's talk about this news. Wow, talking about doing you. Joker 2. So for a long time, it's been in the news that Joker 2 was in pre-development. That Todd Phillips wants to come back. Joaquin Phoenix isn't signed on, but he definitely has interest in a sequel. And I think the way it ended, people would be satisfied if they never picked up this story again. I also don't mind it because I don't know, a lot of people don't like this first movie. I still like it. I haven't left that bandwagon. But hearing this news has made me so much more excited for a potential sequel that Lady Gaga would be signing on to play Harley Quinn, and it would be a musical, which to most people, I imagine, who enjoyed the first movie, that sounds totally absurd because this movie was a mainstream hit. There are a lot of people who saw this who don't frequent the movie theaters that much, so they're just not, they're casual fans, and it's not a derogatory term, but I think that hearing this news would catch a lot of people off guard. It caught me off guard, and we're as tapped in as anybody. So.
I tell you, the first thing I saw was the Lady Gaga Harley Quinn, which I think is actually a very good casting. And I was excited about that because I think she'll pair very well with Joaquin Phoenix. And obviously we know her as Lady Gaga, just making banger after banger. But I think her acting resume is continuing to, she's established herself as a very good actor. And I think she kind of has that vibe and would actually throw herself into a character like this and actually play well off of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Then I saw the musical part. And at first, I think like most people were very like, what, why? What's going on here? And the more I thought about it, I'm like, this actually kind of rules.
Yeah, because I don't think it's going to be jumping around musical numbers. I think the way they'll incorporate it is sort of like other musicals that have horror elements or thriller elements as well. The songs, the numbers, they may be funny and impressive from a musical standpoint, but I think they'll relate to the darker themes that they tried to explore in part 1 and will continue to explore in part 2.
The weird thing is, if this just came out of, the Joker never existed, and they came out this news, I think, I'd definitely be more interested. The weird part is that the first Joker, is just not a musical. So
I know, right?
They're just going to bring back Joaquin Phoenix isn't even signed on to come back, so that's one thing they have to do.
But this is probably how you get him to come back.
Right. But it's just weird that you take the first movie, which is not a musical, and now you're gonna, I guess you can just keep all the weird dancing, and just add song to it. And then this one is just going to be a musical, which I don't think it's going to be a full-out musical if this story even is true and if this is going to happen. But I just, watching the cartoons and to see how much more animated the Joker is, not, obviously he is animated, but in his personality and the way he acts and jumps around, it's like we never got that in live action. All our Jokers have been more, they've had a little bit of a darker twist. Obviously, the animated Joker is very dark too, but you don't see them kind of jumping around, dancing, playing all these jokes and things like that, which I do appreciate from when I do watch the animated movies. So I think you can add an element of that into live action and just have them just off the walls, batshit crazy, where the musical makes sense, where everyone around them isn't in on the musical.
Yeah, right.
But only these two fucking psychopaths are in their own little world in their own little musical. I think if they do something like that I'm very interested in something like that.
Yeah, I think that they have a lot of options there to make it surreal and absurdist. Like you said, they're doing their musical numbers, they're singing, they're dancing, but the people around them are totally unaware of it. Sort of like how musicals normally operate. So, there's always that kind of movie magic when it comes to musicals. You have to buy into it and just take it for what it is. But if it's going to be an R-rated movie, so it's still going to be dark. And the title, they announced the title. It translates to English as it's like an old French saying about a disorder that plagues two people. So people were wondering if they were going to do dual Jokers. A lot of people love that suggestion from Willem Dafoe about a Joker copycat who's inspired by the first Joker and just tries to replicate everything he did. Evil versus evil, which is always fun, but this can be really fun too. And like you said, to start off, Lady Gaga is a very good casting, I think, for Harley Quinn. It's obviously a bit of a change of pace from Margot Robbie, but I think that she would kill this role. It is, hilarious how Henry Cavill can't get a second Superman movie, but they're about to do 2 live-action Harley Quinns, along with, still doing 3 live-action Jokers, and now a fucking musical with the 2 of them, which is hilarious. But based on the numbers that the first movie did, totally not surprised that they would want to do a sequel. And I think the ending, I really like how they got to the point of him becoming the Joker, and I'd like to see them continue that.
I need a shallow level banger from this song, though.
Oh, something you put on in the car, on the walks. Well, if
he did all the voice for Johnny Cash, and obviously Johnny Cash it's not a voice that lends to multiple genres or different type of styles of music. It's very much Johnny Cash here, Johnny Cash song. It's Johnny Cash. But, I mean, you can implement that type of style into whatever songs you want to do and have that bounce back. Kind of like Bradley Cooper. I don't think he has a necessarily great voice, but the kind of low type of sound they were going for in A Star Is Born, complemented by Lady Gaga's just incredible vocals. It kind of worked well together. So I think, talent-wise, musically, I think you can kind of blend those two together and kind of make some actually really good musical pieces.
Yeah, and just based on his track record.
It's weird that we're saying this for a Joker movie, but...
Well, the relationship between the Joker and Harley Quinn in the comics, in the animated movies, the idea of putting them in a musical almost fits that style more because of how fun-loving their relationship is. So I definitely think they'll draw from that. Like you said, maybe we'll get that more animated Joker where he's just having a great time, relishing in the chaos. And based on Joaquin Phoenix's track record, I think he'll make every effort to prepare for this movie as best as he can in terms of his musical abilities, whether if it's, like you said, he did some of the singing or he did the voice in the Johnny Cash movie. What's the name of that movie? Walk the Line, right? So he's got that history, and he's going to be working opposite Lady Gaga, who's musically what she was able to do for A Star Is Born. It helps, Obviously, they had other artists working on that music as well, but she's obviously very talented on her own. And if they bring back the original composer and kind of incorporate that sound, that very eerie, atmosphere that would surround these characters, I think that would be a great way to do it. Make it this really dour and sad, chaotic but also energetic musical. It could be great, man. It's either going to be the best or worst movie ever. There's no in between,
especially in a time where, especially me, and I think a lot of people too, are just you're getting a little tired of the classical superhero formula when it comes to a lot of these movies. We want to see something different. I don't know if you caught Miss Marvel at all. I enjoyed it because it did feel a little different in a lot of aspects. Or even the first Joker movie is not something that we typically see when it comes to superhero movies. And I think DC, as shitty as their universe has been and their luck with trying to get those moving and trying to... going on, see what's going on with The Flash and even Aquaman too. It just seems everything they try to do is a mess. But when they do get a little wacky and different, it's like with Peacemaker and the Joker movie and the Batman kind of separating it from everything else, they've had great success. So why not try something new? Be creative.
Right. This is definitely, like you said, a direction that I don't mind them going because of that.
And I don't really think musical when I think of Todd Phillips, but who knows? Maybe he could surprise us. I don't know. There's plenty of musicals he can rip off for this one.
Yeah,
he did a great job of doing it for the first.
People on Twitter were making that point that if it was a better director attached to it, maybe they would be more excited. Todd Phillips, for me, he really does only have... obviously, I like the first Hangover movie, and I'm not saying it's not a real movie, but in terms of movies that I respect, this is not getting better for Todd Phillips. The Joker would probably be, it's the Joker and the Hangover. But who knows? Maybe he comes out and this is even better, kind of brings on some of those naysayers. But like you said about, or we just made this point on our Rise of Skywalker Revisited, that it should be up to the artists to push the envelope and to be in front of their audience. It's not always going to work. You're going to put stuff out there that the masses don't necessarily like. But if you take a risk, and it is good, this could spur a new direction for superhero storytelling where studios are more willing to make these types of stories. And I think the deal for Disney to acquire Fox was so bad for superhero movies because they were the first ones embracing the R-rated. Not the first ones, but it looked like they were ready to just say, hey, we're going to make these movies for adults. You can come out and watch them. If you don't, whatever. We'll make them for cheaper budgets, and we'll make them R-rated, darker themes. And then that kind of stopped, and we're hoping it starts up again with Deadpool 3. But maybe if this comes out, if Warner Brothers is going to be that studio that embraces dark stories, like with the Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey, and now 2 Joker movies, it could be very good for the industry.
Yeah.
So I'm rooting for this movie. As much as people don't like Todd Phillips and don't like this first movie, I hope they stick to this plan, and I hope it works out.
Me too. Yeah, I think you made some great points there. You're getting good.
Thank you.
You're getting good at this.
Look at that. We can move on to U.S. weekend box office, talk about some typical blockbusters that are not reinventing the wheel whatsoever, just kind of making it bigger. Number 1, Jurassic World Dominion came in with $145 million at the domestic box office. So that was a very impressive opening. Like I said, not getting the best of reviews. I put out a tweet last week that I'd rather walk through 10 miles of broken glass, than see this movie.
Now, was that hyperbole?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I'm known to be a bit hyperbolic. Now I want to see it, so apparently I walked through those 10 miles of glass. I'm like, you know what? I can go for a nice slushy movie. Number 2, Top Gun Maverick. $51 million on its 3rd weekend. It continues to make just buckets of money, and it truly deserves it. Number 3 was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, made $5.2 million. The Bad Guys at number 4 made $2.5, and the Bob's Burger movie made $2.4 million. So Jurassic World obviously dominated this weekend, but I think it's important to note that Top Gun only dropped 42% after only dropping 33% from its first weekend. Tom Cruise, it's going to become Tom Cruise's highest grossing movie. It's at like 750 million right now. People are saying it's got a chance at $1 billion.
Yeah.
Which would be massive for a movie like this. It is different when it's not a franchise. Obviously, it's got the first movie going back to the 80s, but a lot of people were skeptical when they announced this, even when they put out that first trailer. It's not the best movie of all time. It's not his best movie. It's kind of, when he came onto the scene and became Tom Cruise. But for the movie to be as good as it was and to be making this money, it's a huge success for Tom Cruise.
Well, I think it's got a wide appeal, too. Obviously, being Top Gun, you have an older generation coming out to the theater. And I think Tom Cruise kind of has reinvented himself, well, not recently, but as pushing the envelope when it comes to action. And I think a lot of film fans appreciate that as well, which you don't really see in typical action movies. But for some reason, Tom Cruise, and it's not even like he's making the movies, but there's almost just when he comes aboard a project, like he makes sure that it's a project that he wants to be a part of and that they are doing things that are kind of pushing the envelope with the stunts and all that aspect, all those aspects of it. And I mean, also it's just a movie that I think you always hear, though, like when new Hollywood blockbusters come out, like how they kind of, whether it's true or not, which I think we both don't think it is, but there you get the narrative that it's agenda based or Hollywood this, Hollywood that, and catering to a specific audience and all this. Top Gun is being embraced by everybody, and you know what that does? That brings more people into the theater and more people watching a movie. Thus, Top Gun 2 might make $1 billion. So I think that aspect has helped a lot as well. So
the funniest tweet I saw about Top Gun 2 is it's a legacy sequel where Tom Cruise returns to hand off the baton to Tom Cruise.
Yes.
It's a movie that the industry really does need. And even if we are going in this direction where movie stars are dying off and people aren't going out to the theaters as much, at least we can still embrace the movies that are able to bring audiences back out into the theaters and make it feel like it's still the 80s or the 90s where people would run out to see these Tom Cruise blockbusters. But for him as an artist, he's been so dedicated to pushing the envelope in his movies. So that's why he's the antithesis of a movie like Jurassic World Dominion, where it's just we're going to bring back the old stars, but we're not going to do anything new. It's just going to be a lot of member berries. And I haven't seen it, but the two lead characters in Jurassic World are horrible. Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. They've had no arcs throughout these three movies.
You don't like Owen and Kristen?
I'll give you that because I don't know. I wouldn't be able to. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Owen and Kristen.
It's not Kristen. I know that for sure.
But Top Gun introduced new characters that were great. Top Gun made me enjoy Miles Teller performance. And Glenn Powell as well. So even though, Tom Cruise came back and he was awesome and his character was doing awesome things, they also managed to give us some new characters that you can consider now to be icons, like Tom Cruise became in the first movie.
I think when what was it, Doctor Strange?
Doctor Strange was number 3, yeah.
No, but when we saw that was our IMAX preview. We didn't get the Avatar trailer, but we got
Top Gun, right? Yeah.
And just from that little scene, it wasn't even that long or that crazy, but it was like,
let me tell you something right now, Aaron.
This movie's gonna be good.
You got $10 on you?
Yeah.
Go to a theater right now. They're playing the whole thing.
I just haven't had time.
Once you do see it, though, that's a movie that I kind of want to review on its own.
Yeah.
I don't even want to do a podcast review for that one.
I'll probably go tonight. I mean, I've just been running around, so I have a couple I need to scoop on. I want to watch the Top Gun. I need to see RRR. Is that how you say it? Triple R?
Triple R. I've been calling it RRR. It's like Rage, Roar, Revolt. I can't remember what they all stand for.
And then the Adam Sandler basketball movie are on my to-dos this week.
You know what else is on VOD?
What?
Well, it's coming out soon on 4K. I might just buy it. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That's coming out in 4K?
Yeah, it's coming out in 4K.
And then what else did I have to pick up on? Well, those three mostly. And then I need to, that's really it. Okay. I could get that done in a week. Yeah. So I think especially even though it is a legacy movie.
Rise, Revolt, Revenge.
Best
movie of the year.
Yeah,
I didn't think someone was going to take Everything Everywhere All at Once off the top of my list.
I mean, so far with those, even Top Gun, and then you have something like The Northman, like it's been
a good year.
A solid first half of the year.
For shows too. People have been making that point. A lot of good TV shows, a lot of good movies. So I would say the first half of 2022 has been way stronger than the first half of 2021.
Yeah, I feel like I've always been watching something this year so far.
Yeah, it's been hard to keep up. Even, a show like Severance, people keep telling me to watch, and I just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I've had that. And also, obviously, with like past shows too, like not new shows. I've just been really on my TV grind. But yeah, obviously, like Top Gun's a legacy movie going up against Jurassic World, which is another one. But I feel like that's more of its own established universe at this point, where Top Gun is still kind of a little separated from considering that, unless they make another one, which they probably will. But it is good to see a movie like this, kind of just from the perspective of not Marvel, not DC, not one of these mega franchises, kind of getting to reach that $1 billion point.
Yeah, and he's just his own. It's the Jay-Z line, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. It's really off of Tom Cruise's name. Because you look at some of the numbers that the Mission Impossible movies put up, they're not impressive if you stand them up to the Marvel movies or some of the DC movies. But the fact that it's
still pretty impressive.
Right, yeah, for what he's been able to do with that franchise is to slowly creep up where it's like, oh, we're making 580, we're making 600, now we're making 700. Top Gun Maverick comes out, and I think a lot of the hype going into that movie, obviously it's a good movie, but the successes that he's had over the last really 10 years now have been so impressive. So audiences just can't wait to see what he's going to do next. And you're sitting in the theater and you watch the Dead Reckoning trailer, and that final moment leaves every crowd I've been in stunned. I think that movie has a chance of making north of $1 billion. It would be the first in the franchise to do that. Obviously he's had his ups and downs in his personal life, but I'm just so impressed with what he's been able to do, and it is very admirable, his love for movies.
I'm trying to think of like what else he's done besides like those Mission Impossibles. I think American Made. I don't think
American Made was good.
A ton of money, but it made like over $100 million, I think. And I think The Mummy, even the shitty one, made over like 410 million worldwide. So like he still does bring people to the theater, even if it's not the best movie.
Jack Reacher made 162. The last Jack Reacher movie.
It's a show now, right?
I think those are two different people. Maybe it's a show.
Because there's Jack Reacher and then there's Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan, right. Mm-hmm. Jack Reacher may be a show as well now, too. Also starring John Krasinski. It just doesn't matter any at this point. All the deep state agents are just played by John Krasinski and Mr. Fantastic. All right, that's a nice weekend for Jurassic World and Top Gun. Hope it keeps going strong. We'll see if Top Gun, I don't know what's coming out next week, if anything major's coming out, but maybe Top Gun can take back the first spot. That'd be a good sign.
Thor's coming out soon.
Yeah, Thor, the tickets are already on sale. July 8th, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Probably should.
All right, next story here.
Those trailers have been pretty good.
Yeah, they have been good. Okay, now before we get to the next topic, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for this episode, and that would be Storyblocks. Right now, you can click the link in our description box below, and this is a good opportunity for anyone who's interested in content creation, whether you're making videos on YouTube or if you're making videos for your small business. Storyblocks is dedicated to making it easier for independent creators to bring their stories to life without sacrificing the quality of your video due to time, budget, or resources. This is what makes Storyblocks so great. With one of their affordable subscriptions, you will receive unlimited downloads for all of the content in the Storyblocks library. They have stuff like templates for softwares like After Effects, or things that you can use in all the major Adobe products, stock images, graphic designs, background footage. They also have royalty-free music, so you can give your video some cinematic flair, or if you want something to serve as background music while you're narrating. The options in their library feel like they're unlimited. They have a very easy search bar that you can just type in specifically what you're looking for, and they give you dozens and dozens of options. And the Storyblocks library is royalty free, so all of the things that you download when you're a member of Storyblocks are yours to use as many times as you like. So consider signing up to Storyblocks with one of their affordable subscriptions by clicking the link in our description box below. All right, now let's move on to the next story. We have a live-action anime adaptation. I know people must be thrilled for this one. Justin Lin, director of Fast and Furious movies, few of the good ones. Some people would say the only good ones.
Not 10, though.
Not 10, no. And also Star Trek Beyond has been tapped by Sony to adapt the world-famous anime One Punch Man. This is an anime that I haven't seen, but people always tell me it's a great satire on animes and on superhero stories as well. Are you familiar with One Punch Man at all?
He can one punch.
Yeah, he's basically Superman. No one can beat him, and it just drives him crazy. He's desperate to find someone who can at least defeat him or match his power, and he just can't. And that's basically every episode. Apparently, like I said, it's very funny. So I think that this is the type of anime that really could work in a live-action setting, where if you hone in on the comedy, hone in on the satire. Justin Lin, like I said, he's got a good track record with big movies, and I think that his sensibilities as a filmmaker really do fit a story like this. I'm not too familiar with it. I just kind of know the basics, but obviously people are going to hear this news and say, stop adapting anime into live action. It's unnecessary. The stories are good enough to stand on their own until HBO does it, because you know HBO is going to adapt one of them and it's going to be a fucking banger.
It's so
and that's
hard,
going to be the
though,
new craze.
Man. That's the thing. Anime doesn't lend to
No, it doesn't.
live
Like even
action.
My Hero Academia, the budget would have to be $900 million. Can you imagine making a class, the prosthetics, the CGI of doing Class 1A? The only way you would do it is you have to cut the class down to like 6 students, and then people are going to be like, what the hell? This is not My Hero. No, I think that, yeah, like they're doing One Piece on Netflix.
Well, a lot of what makes anime
It's
anime.
huge. The budget's massive.
It's not even like the over-the-top action at times. It's like, okay, you can kind of get away with that, or maybe even scaling it down a bit. Just the mannerisms and the some of the dialogue and just kind of the overall style of anime which works in animation, when you try to replicate into that live action, just comes off as comes off weird. And it's hard to really capture that.
I'm watching one now that would be, it's basically The Northman as an anime. It's so fucking good. If HBO ever adapted Vinland Saga as a 8-episode miniseries, it's got a lot of real-world history. It's the Vikings. The Vikings invading England. It's great. But I think a lot of times they go for the popular ones that are more harder to adapt. Like Dragon Ball Z, right? Everyone knows Dragon Ball Z. Your mom probably knows Dragon Ball Z. If you showed her a picture of Goku, she'd be like, I know that. But how do you adapt that? How do you adapt that if it's not $300 million on your budget? You need a director who actually enjoys the source material, not some corporate hack that you got to, just because you want to make the movie before your rights expire. So the bigger stories, the Narutos, the One Pieces, those are the ones that are so difficult to, even Avatar: The Last Airbender. But I think this story is, like I said, I think if any of them are going to work, it's going to be a One Punch Man story. Because like I said, superheroes are huge now, so you can obviously paint it as a superhero movie, and then audiences will, when they watch it, realize, oh, this is kind of taking a lot of shots at superhero stories. So
yeah. I mean, obviously, mentioned not the best track record, but I guess one's got to hit, right? We're still waiting for... Actually, no, we've gotten some better video game adaptations, so I feel like we're starting to kind of figure that out. Still not there all the way yet, but I think we're going to go through a lot of the same growing pains with anime adaptations as we have with video game adaptations, especially because some of the stories are just so massive and ongoing, too. It's not like you have a contained... very rare that you get a contained story. I mean, what's One Piece, right?
Yeah, it's like 1,000 episodes.
So, I don't know. I think the best way to go about it would be just to take concepts and stories and kind of adapt it that
kind of
way.
like the comics do it, comic adaptations.
Yeah.
Not doing them verbatim, but...
I really don't know much about One Punch Man, except for he one punches people, so...
Boy's nice. I need to watch that. All right, let's move on to our last story here. We're talking about The Last of Us. Quick story, it's finished shooting. The Last of Us on HBO. So that's excited. They released some new some stills. Did you see that one pic with the creeper?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we got the first look at the creeper. I'm so excited for people to watch this who have no idea what this story is about. I really just hope it's good. At this point, though, you have to imagine it's going to be good, right? They brought back Neil Druckmann. They also announced that Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker, the original voices of Ellie and Joel, will also have roles in the story. They've got so many people from the original game on their team. They've got Craig Mazin coming off of Chernobyl. If this is bad, then something went terribly wrong, right? There's too many good minds, maybe too many chefs, too many cooks in the kitchen, but like I said, the cast is great. Yeah. Bella Ramsey, Pedro Pascal.
And it being the series kind of takes away the opportunity for them to... You could still rush a story in a series, but less of a chance if this was going to be a feature film. So I don't think we really have to worry about that, because I think we've talked about it ad nauseum now. The best way to adapt these massive video game stories is to do it in a series where you can actually flesh out a full story and do what you need to do in the allotted time. And I do think, because I don't think it's as massive as other video games. It's very contained in its story. And obviously with the zombie aspect and all the different places they travel to, that's where you can get really creative and add like a lot of more perspective to the story. But it really is Ellie and Joel. So in that sense, I don't think it should be that difficult to adapt. I'm sure it's difficult, but I think comparing it to other video game franchises in the past, and the story, it's right there.
Right, well, the common...
Play through the game, the story, everything you need is right fucking there.
The common criticism of the game is that it's way more focused on telling a great story than being a great game. And those are debates I've had with people, and those are debates people continue to have on the internet. And I think if you look at Part 2, they made an effort to make better gameplay. With the stealth gameplay in Part 2 is just so much fun, man. The way that you can take people out from the shadows never gets old in that game. So they've got so much great lore to work with. I definitely want to see them go into Part 2 type of territory. So my hopes are very high for this. Yeah. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. All right, let's go to fan questions.
That's for the fan to decide.
Yay! People, you call up to the show, you better be ready. That's what you're supposed to do. Sitting there arguing and you're trying to spell your name and all of this other stuff. It's not your show, it's my show. I'm giving you the opportunity to speak your mind. Don't call up here unless you got something to say.
All right, first question here from Alex. Have you guys watched The Handmaiden by Park Chan-wook? Any thoughts? Have you ever seen The Handmaiden?
I don't believe so.
You ever see any Park Chan-wook movies? The Handmaiden's very good. What else did he do? He did Old Boy. You ever see Old Boy? The original?
No.
And Spike Lee remade it. It's not very good, the Spike Lee remake, but the original's very good. Yeah, no, The Handmaiden is, those are the only two movies I've seen of his. He's obviously one of the most acclaimed South Korean directors in the world. He's probably right behind Bong Joon-ho, and I know they're buddies. But yeah, The Handmaiden blew me away, and I don't know why I didn't go back to watch more of his movies, but that's a great one. This question here from Kyle. Finals MVP. Wiggins. Who you got? Wiggins? Andrew Wiggins? You're pushing that narrative?
Yeah. It would be so fucking funny.
I was talking to my cousin about this earlier. If it had to be Wiggins, Curry would have to it would have to go 7. Curry would have to collapse, but the Warriors role players led by Wiggins would have to lead them to victory. Mm-hmm. That's not happening. No. So I think Curry's going to close this out, and he'll get it. So
yeah, I mean, the way they've been doing it.
It would be very hard for him to lose it.
Yeah, because even like game 1, Clay didn't play well. Like, Steph has kind of struggled a little bit past 2 games. It's like they can get it done in so many different ways. I mean, Draymond's played like shit all series. So it's like...
Well, he struggled 1 game.
Who?
I'm not going to give him struggled in game 4. He had a shaky 4th.
Draymond?
No, Steph.
Okay.
He was lighting those boys. The third quarter Steph is scary, bro.
Well, they've always been.
Yeah, no, they've always been. But it's become more so him now, where it's not even the Warriors in the third quarter. It's just Steph in those third quarters. It's just, I haven't rooted against him in a while, obviously, because LeBron and him haven't been meeting in the finals. But he is one scary player to root. I know those Celtics fans must be shaking in their boots every time he's got the ball, man.
No, he can light it up whenever he wants. And but what I'm saying is, like, they could just get it done in so many different ways.
Right, but they were fucking sucking in some of those first games. He straight up carried them in the one game they lost, where he had the 40. Didn't they lose when he dropped 40 once? I don't know. I can't remember now. My memory's shot. I can't even remember the fucking finals. You
know, you're seeing the Boston inexperience take place, I think. They're just not... I mean, but they can win at home. Anyone can, like... They're good enough defensively to... I mean, they kind of shut down Steph, but forgot about everybody else. And
right, but their game plan... They need to go back to the first game plan, the Celtics. Shut down everyone else and let Steph go off, because I think that's their best chance. Their biggest weakness, because the Warriors' defense is very underrated, but the biggest weakness of the Celtics has been completely exploited. They don't have playmakers. They have one point guard, Marcus Smart, who's not a playmaker. They have no backup. Jason Tatum has been a turnover machine.
He keeps trying. Everyone, it seems like they keep trying to do it by
They're
themselves.
Not playmakers. If they had one more, like a Lowry, if they could bring Lowry off the bench, maybe keep him in force. It's so valuable to have a guy that just sets your offense, and they don't have that. So I think the Warriors are going to close this one out.
Yeah.
This question here from Mr. Spud. Step-by-step guide to making a peanut butter and jelly. Some people use 2 knives. Some people put peanut butter on jelly.
Oh,
interesting.
No. 2 knives I don't hate. You don't want to mix it up. I found spoons to be my go-to spreader.
You scoop and then spread with the bottom of the spoon?
You put the toast in first, obviously. And you kind of wait.
You put the bread in the toaster and it becomes toast.
Yes. You toast a sandwich. Peanut butter left side, jelly right. Peanut butter goes on top.
In terms of spreading, I do use 1 knife, and I spread the jelly first, and then I wipe the excess jelly off on the other bread, and then scoop the peanut butter, spread, and just put them together.
Ratio 2-to-1 peanut butter.
I like it even.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do like it even. I would say I go, because peanut butter's strong, man. I would say even maybe 55-45. I mean, I don't get down with a microscope, you know. Teddy's 80-20 peanut butter.
Yeah. You cut it on a diagonal.
Yeah, no, that's people laugh at me for cutting my sandwiches. I don't know. There's just something about it.
Every time I go into
feels like I'm eating more.
A 7-Eleven and they have the Uncrustables out.
Ooh.
It's always
the Smuckers?
It's always a must snack. Well, they have their own brand, but it's such a perfect snack.
This question here from Jasmine. Not the best question, but been a huge fan for years. Just moved to Long Island.
I thought you were saying that.
Oh, that just me saying that?
No, this is Jasmine. Terrible question.
No, I don't want people to get. I don't want our listeners to get confused. That was part of her question. Just moved to Long Island. Any pizza food recommendations?
Well, welcome to hell.
Yeah. Right. Oh no. For pizza, I mean, pizza truly is good everywhere. And any place that's having pizza, you might as well just sample them all. You know. Because when I give pizza recommendations, I'm like, oh, the place up the block is pretty good, Imperial. Or if there's a Geno's. Geno's seems to be like a chain, right?
Yeah, but
there's one in like West Islip, I think.
Yeah, it's really pick and choose.
Is there any place? There's probably some nice brick oven pizza spots.
The worse the place looks, the better the pizza is.
Yeah, right. It's a rundown hole in the wall.
Yeah.
They're going to give you some good stuff. Those corner places in the city are always the best.
Yeah.
For food, I mean, food. Taco Bell is just
the
fucking best, man. I got one right up the block. You know where I've been eating a lot lately?
Good places. I like Vincent's, like Italian food, and I forget what town it's in. It's a Long Island staple. I think a lot of people go there. They have very good sauce.
A lot of good places to eat in Bayshore. A lot of good places to eat in Islip. Yeah, Garden City, that area as well. What's the ramen spot that just opened? They've got all the movie posters.
Oh, by us, Bakudo.
That place is pretty good.
You went there?
I've enjoyed their ramen, yeah. I'm a big ramen guy after watching Tom Popo.
It's pretty much like I don't know. I
don't eat out on Long Island, man. I
do,
I was
but like,
talking to my friend the other
I just
day.
look up random places, look at reviews. You're gonna find good places.
But there are a lot of good places.
Mm-hmm.
I underrate Long Island's cuisine. Even our town has been upgrading.
Yeah.
We're not the best people to ask, but
Good pizza. I mean, like, Queens
Domino's.
has fucking great
We love
Chinese food,
Domino's.
Greek food. I know it's not Long Island, but over that, like, towards that area, I feel like every borough kind of does something very well, except Staten Island. They don't do anything well.
Yeah, you saw that guy who got arrested, the Rangers fan?
No. Oh, for punching
The
the guy?
sucker punch? Yeah, it's from Staten Island.
I'm so happy they lost, man. I hate a lot of fan bases. I fucking despise Ranger fans. And I have a lot of friends that are Ranger fans, and I do look down upon them.
That's pretty funny. This question here from Mad Cap. Any famous person from history, dead or alive, that you would love to have dinner, drink, or smoke with? Mine is Al Capone or Bob Marley. That's a dream blunt rotation, right? Al Capone and Bob Marley.
I feel like the vibes would be off.
Al Capone knew how to party, man. Al Capone was a man of the people. So was Bob Marley. There's a lot of similarities there that you're not seeing. Bob Marley would be a fun one. He's the weed king, right?
It's too much.
Too much?
Yeah.
What's too much about Bob Marley?
Like, he just does, like, he knows, like...
Oh, you think that the philosophy he's going to hit you with is going to be too overwhelming?
No, it's just, I want to be able to keep up. Like, I was like, oh, I want to smoke with, like, Snoop Dogg. It's like, nah. It's like, they just be giving me stuff I don't need. Like, oh, this is, like, the good stuff. It's like, I can't take more than one hit.
Well, mine would
I'm going home.
It would be one of the directors, so I would have to pick one. I would go Tarkovsky, I think, because so many people consider him the best.
With Tarkovsky.
Nice vodka. He's another one, though, where...
I see, the directors you couldn't, like, I feel like they're just in their own world. Imagine, like, trying to have a beer with Kubrick. I feel like that'd be an awful time.
Yeah, but Tarkovsky was also very, he was a deep thinker, and he liked to talk about what his films meant, so I would just pepper him with questions. Everybody likes questions that make them feel better about themselves, right? Kubrick, a little weird. Yeah, no, Kubrick would be like, I'm working on a math problem.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to eat dinner. Why are you doing math at the dinner table?
But you need a translator. He probably spoke English, right? I wouldn't know what to say. So, Solaris. Am I saying that right? Solaris?
So I seen your picture, Solaris. It's great. It's fantastic. No robots, though. Why didn't you use any robots? There no robots in Russia?
I mean, it's no Interstellar, but you got a good picture there, bud.
You seen Star Wars? You seen the opening battle on Hoth?
Man, history. That's crazy. Jesus?
Jesus could be fun to get, like, the real story from him.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you hear what they're saying about you,
do
bro?
the thing. Do the thing.
They're talking you up, boy.
Keep shoving them in water and say,
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Can you walk on this bowl of soup?
Oof, that's a tough one. Maybe like
I gotta say, there's not a lot of people that I think about wanting to have dinner with from history, or even people who are alive today. Like, if it had to be someone who was alive today.
Warren Buffett, because you can make a
Right, yeah,
$1
Jay-Z.
billion.
Yeah, Jay-Z. Figure out how to manage my money.
Today, who would just be fun to go out with?
That's a good one. Yeah, Frank Sinatra.
Have
in
a
his
beer
prime.
with the Rat Pack.
Yeah, we're in Vegas.
That's actually not a bad idea. Yeah, Frank Sinatra had a prime, huh?
Oh, yeah. I love when Tony Soprano got the Sinatra painting. So, man, those boys, they really lived it up, huh? They had some good times.
Like going out with like the
Good question here, though.
yeah,
Got another
like the
good
Showtime
one.
Lakers, like
You gotta
being in
pick
that
one.
crew was probably fucking
Gotta
insane.
pick one.
Or
Or else I'm going to pick one for you. You're not going to like it.
Joe DiMaggio.
Oh, God, that's the worst. What a boring...
What? He says Marilyn Monroe.
Pick Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, okay.
So how was she? Oh, that'd be such a fumble. Your genie would be looking at you like, bro, down bad. All right, this question here from DK Reps. What is Andrew Garfield's best role? Good question there. I think, you know what? I'm going to go with The Social Network. I think that's where he was not necessarily the best, but the most that I've enjoyed him in a movie. And he's been, he's had such a great career for such a young actor. But I'll stick with The Social Network.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably his best film that he's been in. Tick, Tick, Boom, very good performance. And I think that's the only one he's gotten nominated for.
Yeah, it is. It feels weird to say that, but yeah.
Hacksaw Ridge, I think he's really good in, too. I think he plays that character very well. Just the fear and bravery of that character that they portray in that movie. I think he hits all those notes pretty spot on. And I think it has a lot of range with that character. But he really is able to kind of at this point now, he's done so many different things. It's kind of, but I feel like he still hasn't had that role where like I mean, obviously,
I don't think he's
some people
very good. He hasn't given the performance of a lifetime.
For some people, like obviously, you point to like he's my Spider-Man, etc. But like I don't have a role for him where I'm like he absolutely blew me away there. Where I think he's been very good in a lot of things and has established himself as a great actor. But where's The Aviator?
Yeah, he's got ways to go. So I think that his career is only going to get better. And I think there was a dry spell for a few years with some of the movies he was appearing in or not appearing in. But I think now, coming off of Tick, Tick, Boom and the success of the Spider-Man movies, you're going to see him way more often over the next few years because I think Hollywood realizes what they have with him. This guy is so likable and he's a good talent. That's money 101 in Hollywood. We'll take one more question because the lawnmowers are going, so kind of sucks. But this question here from Tina, the real question is, do you guys watch Stranger Things? Because I've been waiting for a review. I still haven't watched the new part 1. I know you have, right? You finished it?
It's good. I think you would like it. I think it's probably the best season
once again.
since...
I finished the first episode.
Yeah.
And then I didn't start the second one. And I've been on that. I liked Stranger Things season 3.
I think they've all been
There's just something
solid.
about it that I can't put it into words.
I think
I just don't want to watch it.
I think season
It's
1 was
so
so
long.
good that the rest of the seasons were still very good, but like never reached that level yet. I think this one is the closest one to doing that.
Because they went back to the horror elements, I've heard.
Oh, Vecna is fucking incredible. And so it is.
Maybe I'll
like,
watch for Vecna.
It gets this like rap as being a kid show. I mean, it's pretty gruesome at times. I don't think it ever really has been. I think kids are drawn to it because it is a young adult cast for the most part. But you know, it's not light at all. I mean, obviously there's some light elements to it, but like when it gets dark, it gets pretty dark. And I think it's become for me, like even going into this season, it's like, all right, we're gonna get another season where we get another bad guy and these kids have to scramble and, you know, basically to quote Dr. Strange, Scooby-Doo this shit. It kind of got, I think some shows get stuck in the big bad territory where every season they feel like there has to be who's the villain this season and who are we going to take down. Dexter fell into that trap, and I think it got fairly repetitive at times. Instead of having a much larger overall story, which I think there are elements but they kind of take a step back and focus on this, and it's this, and it's this, and it's kind of how many times we're going to do this. But I think this one did a great job of kind of breaking away from that and adding something to the show that we really haven't seen since probably that first season.
Interesting. You're selling me on it. I'm warming up to the idea. Mm-hmm. But I think I may start Severance instead.
Okay, I guess you...
We'll actually take one more question to finish this off.
You're a big Finn Wolfhard guy, too.
From Photo Fox, who has the better filmography, Tom Cruise or Tom Hanks? Tom Hanks has been putting out so much shit.
Yes.
For since Castaway, or since Catch Me If You Can. It's been 15 plus years. I can't remember the last time.
Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Yeah, right. No, there's been so much bad that the good ones kind of get lost, like Captain Phillips.
You don't like The Circle?
Tom Hanks as a villain.
The Post?
Oh, one of my least favorite movies ever. I always forget about The Post, and then when I'm reminded of it, I remember how much I hated it.
Robot movie?
I actually did like that, yeah. Finch. Finch was good. At this point, I think you got to say Tom Cruise, man. I think Tom Cruise has the better filmography. Because Tom Cruise, at first he wasn't this huge action star.
Yeah, but
But those movies are good.
Yeah.
Risky Business, Top Gun.
Born on the 4th of July.
Right.
What's the movie?
Color of Money.
Yeah, I think those earlier movies really get lost. Yeah, did you say what's the
Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, Jerry Maguire. I was trying to think of that movie.
Few Good Men.
Few Good Men.
Tom Cruise has him here. I think Tom Cruise and Leo might be a better fucking discussion. Tom Cruise his filmography's deep.
Whoa.
It must be a Tom Hanks fan. All right, guys.
We're going right here. Tom Hanks is the better actor.
Okay, fair enough.
That's tough, because right away I was like Tom Hanks. But we both sold me.
We sold each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's friendship. All right, guys, that is the Nerd Soup podcast for today. We will be back this week with some Obi-Wan reviews, some reviews of The Boys, and possibly next week a revisited of The Rise of Skywalker. So like, share, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast channel because these podcasts will not be coming out on the Nerd Soup channel. All right, for Aaron, I'm Bo, and we'll see you.
Damn, we were making some good points in that video. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey here. Before we end this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon supporters. What can I say about you guys that I haven't already said about myself? You are the most important part of the channel and the main reason we keep going strong. Like Bo says, you keep the lights on in the fridge so the fridge is full. Or something like that. So, from everyone here at Nerd Soup, I'd like to thank you guys for your continued support. If you're interested in joining the ranks of our patron supporters, head over to patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out the rewards we offer to our patrons. We recently dropped some new stickers for you guys to check out, or you could choose a tier that will allow you to select a movie, show, or video game for us to review. We've got a full slate of fan-suggested reviews coming your way, and we're really excited about the chance to review some of those movies and shows. We've also got t-shirts, mugs, behind-the-scenes videos showing how we bring our videos to life. And once again, thank you to all our Patreon pledgers who have been supporting us throughout the years. Without you, we wouldn't be able to convert all your pledges into cryptocurrency, so thank you from my future self for making us rich.